up, folks? DeeDee here today, and I want to show you these book bones products that I have designed for UmWowStudio, and they come in 3 different sizes. There is a 2x3, a 3x4, and a 4x6 at this point. And what they are is a front cover, a back cover, and a spine that has 2 columns of holes already pre-cut in it so that you can build a book and you can have this nice sturdy cover and spine ensemble. So you can see here, this is what they come like. They come in packaging, nice and pretty with UmWowStudio packaging. And then this is the 2x3. Here's the 3x4, and here's the 4x6. Now inside that 4x6, you can see that there are 2 spines. UmWowStudio, we do offer additional spines if you want your book to have more signatures and or to be thicker. So our spines at this point are about a ½ inch thick, and then you can fit 2 signatures with the 2 columns of rows that are there. And by that I mean groups of pages. So groups of pages inside a book are called signatures. And I'm going to show you how to use these book bones to make a book. And you can make anything, art journals or junk journals. This one right here and the one previously, those are based on jelly prints. This one here is a junk journal class, just full of all kinds of vintage ephemera and some mixed media things and pockets and tags and dyed stuff, and it's just really awesome. It has lots of tabs and tucks and all kinds of things, bingo cards and sorry ribbon and cotton rag and vintage papers that I found and vintage papers that I've designed and just all kinds of things in it. So this is much more junk journal-y, where the 2 that you saw previously are a little bit more art journal-y. This is the big one, 4x6. The 2 before this were the 3x4s. And then I want to, in the video today, show you how to make the 2x3 because I don't have any of this yet. So I really wanted to put one together. I'm just going to open the packaging here and pull the pieces out. You can see there's 1 front cover, 1 back cover, and then that spine piece. Now again, if you wanted your book to be thicker or to have more signatures, you can purchase the spines separately and put as many of those in the book as you want. I'm taking a piece of paper here and I'm folding it in half because I need to make a guide that matches the holes that are in my spine so that when I start attaching things, it all comes together nice and even and right in the middle. And then this is going to aid in the process of binding all my pages in so that later down the road, I'm not having a huge headache. I'm going to pre-poke some holes here. So I folded this piece of paper in half, and then using the spine itself rather than a tape measure and having to sort of transfer that over, I have marked where the holes in the spine are. And then I'm pushing my Tim Holtz piercer through the folded piece of paper right in the crease so that now these holes are identical to the holes in the spine. And then I'm going to use that in a little bit on some signatures, which again are groups of pages inside my book. I am setting out my pieces here. I'm going to get out some tape. Oops, sorry about that. This tape specifically is, it's like almost like a wax coated paper tape that I picked up at Daiso of all places. So Daiso is like it's a dollar store, and you can find it in a lot of the big cities. Like I got this when I was traveling to Seattle a few years ago. I don't have the Daiso here in Las Vegas, but you may have one in your city. Or if you don't want to use this tape, you can use lots of other things. You can use duct tape, you can use masking tape, you can use bookbinders tape, cloth tape, gaffer tape. You can use a whole lot of different things. What I wouldn't use is washi tape or scotch tape. Clear packing tape might even be kind of cool. But so you lay your tape down sticky side up, and then you place your spine directly in the middle. And then you're going to set each cover to the side of the spine. Now, there's a gap that you need to leave between the spine and the cover, and this gap very specifically for measurement wise should just be the thickness of the chipboard. And this goes with saying to say, or goes for any type of cover you might be building in this type of fashion. If you leave that space there, it really helps your book open and close a lot easier, because then it's not fighting itself to open. What I'm doing right now is I'm just holding my book up to the light and letting it shine through the tape so I can poke back the holes where my signatures are going to be. So no biggie, just not really any way for me to show that on camera without completely blinding you. So I have my holes there, and now I have my two covers. They are bound to my spine. And then here I've pre-folded some signatures. So all I've done is take little scraps of paper that are left over from the UmWowStudio vintage paper pack and the vintage Ephemera paper pack and the vintage book text paper packs. They're just scraps that I have left over from what I've been working on, like iCads and our mixed media moods and stuff like that. And I folded them in half and then layered them up so they're kind of cool and have different textures and finishes and like widths of the pages too. And then I'm centering that guide that I made at the beginning. Everything is folded in half, so I'm putting all my creases together and centering my signature in that guide and then poking holes. So that now when I go to sew this signature into my book, it's already pre-poked, and I'm going to have a lot easier time getting it into my book and sewing it, stitching it in than I would if I had to poke the holes while I was stitching as well. I am, in this case, going to use some wax linen, yeah, maybe wax thread for sure. And you can use other things, again, kind of whatever you might have lying around. If you have some DMC floss, I like to use that. If you have some extra thick thread, be careful, it might tear your papers, or some like cool, thick, chunky yarn, that would be cool too. I'm doing here what's called a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and that is how these books are designed. What you do is you come up through the middle hole, and you go to the top and come the reverse way. So now you're going to go down, and then you're going to skip the middle and come back up through the bottom. And by that I mean you're going to go through the spine and your signature. And it's a good thing we have all those holes pre-punched, because the wax thread and the vintage book papers, and some of them, they kind of butt heads a little bit while I'm working here. Okay, so through the middle, through the top, skip the middle, go down to the bottom, and then you're going to end up through the middle again. And now what we're doing is you're going to make sure as you come up that your two little tails, one is on either side of the thread that goes from top to bottom. And that's it. So I'm going to show you one more time, and I'll try not to talk too much through this one so you can see and I can explain it a little bit better. But these book bones are designed, look at how cute this little book is. Oh my goodness. These book bones are designed specifically to be used with the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, because now you can see once you have those through and threaded correctly, you can pull really tight on that thread, and it just tucks everything really hard against that chipboard spine, nice and sturdy, and then your signature is stitched in place. And I am using the wax thread in this case because the book's small, and I knew it was going to kind of fight those signatures because they're tiny. The wax thread, once you knot it the first time, the wax on the thread sort of blends together and melts together, and then it is so sturdy. It helps you tie a nice tight knot and keep that stitch in really well. Here I go again. This is my second signature, so it's a second grouping of pages, and I'm centering it on my guide and pre-poking some holes. And I'm using a Tim Holtz piercer, but anything you might have, any kind of sticker tool, an awl, if you have an awl, or a bookbinding piercer or anything like that, all that stuff is going to work really well for that. A clay tool, anything nice and sharp that you can really poke a hole with. And I've got my wax thread on my needle. And I'm going to clip, again, I said those pages were kind of fighting me because they're so small. I'm going to clip those to the front cover so that they're not getting in my way, because there's already plenty of stuff that gets in my way when I'm stitching in a signature. So I've gone through the middle hole of the spine on the only column of holes that's left. And I'm going to work it through the signature. And I am using a leather needle. So these needles have quite a bit bigger eye than a regular needle would. And I am thankful for that when it comes to working with thicker things like waxed thread, because it would be such a pain to get it through a regular needle. So I came through the middle hole and I'm going through the top hole. Now on the back, once I get my needle through, I'm going to completely bypass the middle hole and come back up through the bottom. And then I'm going to finish on the opposite side of where the first tail is. There we go. And again, when I knot that, I can pull really tight on that and make the thread nice and taut. And then as I knot this together, the wax sort of blends itself into from each side of the thread, and it's nice and tight and good to go. And then now from here, I can make any decisions that I might want to based on things that might hang off the spine, like little beads or feathers or dangles or chipboard pieces or anything like that. And I can weave in and out of the stitching if I want. I can put a closure on there, anything like that. And you can see all these fun little pages that go together. I'm actually really excited to work in this book. It's tiny and it's going to be really fun. And I think I might stick with black and whites, like my Experiment 2019 100 Days. But look at how cute it is. It's so tiny and it's fun and it's really sturdy with those chipboard covers. And that's it. So that's how the book bones work. They come in 3 sizes. You can get extender spines and all kinds of things. So thanks for checking this out. And I'll have the links in the description below, and to what I can for the other products that I use also. So again, here are all the sizes together. And just let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I hope I explained everything really well. The chipboard bases are great to paint, to cover. You can encaustic them, you can plaster them, you can do all sorts of things. So I'll be excited to see what you do with your book bones. Bye guys. Real quick before I go, don't forget to subscribe to see lots more videos from me and from UmWowStudio. Thanks. Hasta.